What's wrong with Mike?
In today's episode, albeit in a rather roundabout way, we are going to talk about shitflation. This should take about 26 minutes.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Mike here. I've been a runner for going on 4 decades now, and I've gone through all the different brands. These new shoes came out. They made you an inch taller. Had kind of an Asian name. They would be like so cushiony that you don't even bounce. You smush. Now, I need more bounce than smush. When I ran in these things, I felt like I was kind of like on that planet that Anne Hathaway and Matthew McConaughey went to. You know, where the gravitational pull was so great. Every hour on that planet was like 7 years on Earth. That's how I felt with the smushes. The smushes? Let's just call them smushkas. But I kept coming back to my old brand. And they've done me well. And I've always come back to them. And then, you know, I ran Turkey Trot this year. And in times before, they just kept coming untied. And I kept wondering, like, why is this? And it was always my left foot. Now, here's the thing. I have a thing where, I can't ever remember what it is. I think I underpronate. Maybe I overpronate. I don't even know what it is, but it's not good. You should just pronate. Don't underpronate and don't overpronate. Just pronate. It's like being underwhelmed. You want to be underwhelmed? No. Do you want to be overwhelmed? No way. You just want to be whelmed. I never wanted to be disgruntled. I just wanted to be gruntled. And so I don't want to pronate or underpronate. I want to pronate. Oh my God, I want to pronate so damn bad. I don't want to overpronate. I don't want to but I do one of the two. It's either underpronate or overpronate, and my leg flings out a little bit when I run. Kind of like a spastic flail. But still, hey. I still do sub 8-minute miles. 55 years old, still running sub 8 minutes. So, let me pull up the results here for look at, I took 495th in the Turkey Trot. But here's the thing. Because of my over pronation and my shoestrings, I think it's the shoestrings. And as a matter of fact, you know what? I know it's the shoestrings. They came untied twice, which meant I had to pull over, find a place that my shoestrings are flopping around. When I was a kid, I used to step on them and then fall. And I don't want to do that. You know, there's people out there on their porches in Miamisburg watching all of us run by. Like, look at those people. What idiots. You know, look what they do themselves. I had to find a place on the sidewalk to like tie my shoe, and then just got past the guy with like a baby stroller running thing. I just passed him. And it wasn't because I was, it wasn't because it's because he took up so damn much space. That's exactly what I was trying to find words to say and wanted to find a friendlier way to say it. But people with baby strollers, I don't care how fast you are, you need to get to the back of the corral when you start. The corral is kind of like, it's a trust zone. And nobody ever obeys the rules. The rules are that when you have your corral, you're supposed to get back to where you run your pace. So if you run a 14-minute mile, you get your ass to the back of that thing. You're at the back of the corral. You freaks of nature that somehow with your 110-pound bodies and you still don't wear a shirt during the whole thing, like, I want to just take your number and pin it to your abdomen if you don't wear a shirt with safety pins, if that's your choice in November. You guys, you get in the front. I get it. You belong in the front. You're fast. You're a freak in nature. I get it. I totally get it. But you people with the baby strollers, you need to get your asses back. All two of your asses back in the back of the corral. Don't you be getting up. So here I am, just did all this work to pass a guy with a baby stroller, have to pull over, tie my shoe. And you know what? And I did it twice. And then both times I got behind the guy in the baby stroller and I had to pass him again. And I took 495th overall over 6,000 or some people. And if I didn't need to tie my damn shoes, I probably would have taken, I think my estimation would be I would have taken 474th. 474. Now that's, imagine if I could bask in that instead of this 495th shit. Damn. So that dream, I have to wait a whole other year now that I've fixed the problem. A little bit of foreshadowing there. Now that I've fixed the problem, I have to now wait another year to get a top 474 in the Miamisburg Turkey Trot. So thank you, shoe manufacturer, for stealing my hopes and dreams. And it's because you replaced, in my last two pairs of shoes, and I didn't figure this out, but they replaced the shoestrings. It took me forever to figure out why. Now, there's a lot of variables involved. First of all, I get wides. I get wide shoes because my feet tend to get a little numb in the warmer weather. Now, I don't know if you know this, but your feet in the warm weather, they expand about a half a size. So I have relatively skinny feet, but I get wides for the summer. I probably should get narrows for the winter, but you know what? They're $129 a pop. I get what's on sale. So I don't have the real freedom to shop around and get the ones that fit me. But then they keep coming untied and I don't know why until I used a process we call in science looking at it. And I noticed that the old shoes had different shoestrings than the new shoes. And the new shoes had these bullshit shoestrings that suck, and the old ones had the ones that were awesome. And before that, I was struggling. You always kind of shift the blame on yourself. So, you plummet your placing in the turkey trot to 495th over 474th, and you blame yourself at first. You're like, what did I do? It was my fault. I wasn't a good shoe wearer. And that was the thing. It was always in the back of my mind in that race. And I think it cost me. And you know what else? I mean, this is just a little ancillary side sort of note. I was distracted by other factors too. I was completely and utterly distracted. And actually, I feel, geez, I hope I don't get emotional about this, but I feel very proud of myself for overcoming this adversity. The whole time I ran this year's turkey trot, I had to poo. I had to poo really hard. And I was, now the thing that really doesn't feel good about it is that I was naive enough to think that, I'll find a porta-john. 6,000 people in Miamisburg. You go look at that line. It's 12 deep and there's 170 million porta-johns, but there's more people than porta-johns, and it's just supply and demand, man. So I got there with my kid. Now, look, I got to admit, I stayed up too late, probably doing shit like this, and I didn't really capture my poo window. You're going on a trip, you got to make sure you get that out of you. Otherwise, you miss your window. You ever miss your window, and now it's like your colon is like, okay, we're putting this on the, fine. They didn't do it today. So it's kind of like, one of those things where you're picking up something online at the store and they put it back on the shelf. You miss the window, man. And now they're just like, well, see tomorrow if it happens tomorrow. And now it's inside your colon, poisoning you. That waste is just in there inside you, and it has nothing good to do. That's why it needs to get out of you. And it's just in there now, and it's toxins inside you. So here I am, couldn't find a potty at the turkey trot, shoes coming untied, have to poo really bad. And I'm glad, I'm very happy and proud of myself that I ran a 7:53 pace. But you know what I'm more proud of myself is that I didn't poo myself. And especially at 55 years old. I mean, literally, if you look at some of my peers or people older than me, there's a lot of loss of pelvic floor that happens. So the fact that I held it in, I mean, it's one of those things I felt really good. I mean, look, as a guy, I'll be like in the bathroom and I'll be standing next to a guy at the other urinal. And I'm just so glad I don't fart when I pee. There's a lot of like, at some age, there's like a trap door in the pelvic floor. I just wrote a hip hop. But it just happens, the guy next to you is like, all sorts of noises. And just, man, I just let it fall out of you. I mean, and then that's the thing. I'm glad I have not achieved that yet. I haven't achieved the age, and I'm not getting younger, but I've not achieved the age where I can control my orifices. The one in the front opens, other in the back stays closed. And I can do it. I can do it, you guys. And I'm really proud about that. And I'm also very proud. I mean, someday it'll happen, though. It'll just let go, and I won't be able to do turkey trot anymore until I finally, dial in my rhythm. It'll be like, hey, I can't do it, man. I'll have to wear something like what those firefighters wear on the commercials. I'll have to wear a Depends or something. I don't know, but I'll have to guard myself about that. And that'll happen someday. I know if I'm blessed enough to live this life and stay vertical longer, I will lose all sphincter control at some point. And then later on, I'll get to the point where I go to Kroger just to read the newspaper in that one room where there's all those little tables you can sit at, and I won't be able to go anywhere without my mouth agape all time. If you really look at that, just like the point where your jaw just drops at some age. I think it's right. Your balls drop and then your jaw drops. Just like, you're looking all around like that. I should probably incorporate more visuals to an all audio podcast, I think. But yeah, I'm very proud of myself. So like I have excellent control, and I could be a frog. Honestly. Nothing's getting up in there. No water coming through. I've swam in the ocean many times. Not a single problem. Nothing salty getting up in there. And then even there's times where I'm tempted and I know, it's been an issue, like you got a little pressure. And if you let it go, you're like, oh, it's kind of like a gamble. What is it? What phase of matter is it? Solid, liquid, or gas? You're always betting on gas. Just diffuses out of you, no problem. Goes away in the wind. But sometimes you let go and it's not gas, and then it never comes out either. It's like there's something there's like some sort of intermediary. Somebody who's a physician, please comment on this, because it's like you let something go. It didn't come out of you, though. Where did it go? I'm not a gun enthusiast, but I think you chambered one. You got one in the chamber. You got a Tootsie Roll, Hershey Squirts, something like that in a chamber is what happened. Anyhow, so the shoestrings changed, and it really pissed me off. I'm going to try to explain the physics to you. So why do the shoestrings keep coming untied? It's not because of my feet and because of my under or over pronation. It's because when I look at the newest set of shoes, they're flat. The shoestrings are flat with little ridges in them. And I want you to look at your shoestrings right now. If you're wearing running shoes, If you've got the good shoestrings, they were these round, sort of felt-like things, and they had give to them. And they were symmetrical. So when you tied them, you could sort of grip them from any end, and they got give to them and that friction. Picture yourself like grabbing a garden hose, right? And it gets give to it so your fingers have got some grip on it. Picture something that's a cylindrical object that you're going to grip really hard and then maybe, okay, you know what I'm talking about, right? It's got like some ability for you to get some friction on it. But something flat, no, it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. Look at your shoestrings. When you tie them, they turn over a bunch of times, and then you're taking that flat shoestring with the little ridges in it, and you're folding them over, and it's not as much friction. You just have to trust me on this. What they did is they replaced my bucatini with linguini. And any self-respecting Italian knows that that's not a good trade-off. Anybody who knows what they're doing when it comes to pasta knows that bucatini beats the shit out of linguini every time. And then it goes on down. Like, what are you going to do next? After linguini, what kind of shoestrings are next? Frickin' vermicelli? Angel hair? Dear Lord. My kids and my wife love angel hair. I don't know why. How much oil do you have to put on that shit to make it slip around so that they're actually independent of each other, the little strands of pasta? Goodness, it's like, why don't you just mash up a potato instead? How the heck, what is that even like? I'm sorry, I get really worked up when it comes to this stuff. But the bottom line is that, why am I so pissed about the shoestrings? Well, I love the brand of shoes I wear. Brooks Adrenaline number 22. Brooks Adrenaline 22s, that's my last two pairs of shoes. I spilled the name. But they switched the shoestrings. And they keep coming untied because they replaced my bucatini with linguinis. Now, here's the thing. So what did I do? I figured this shit out because I tried the marathon knot. Okay, I tried the marathon knot. I watched YouTube. And there's that extra hole up in the top of the upper of your shoe. If you have running shoes, look at them right now. There's an extra hole. And you're like, I never used that extra hole. you could, But the bottom line is that extra hole is for you to loop the strings around and make a sort of take the other shoestring and take and then wrap it around again and tie a knot like you would normally do. And you just got barely enough string for that. And actually it's like tying a tourniquet around your ankle. Because I'm walking around on nummies now. I don't even have feet anymore. I just got numb stubs because it cuts off all the circulation. No, they don't come untied when you tie the marathon knot with the linguinis or any kind of shoestring, but you also can't feel your feet if you run more than like 17 minutes. So I tried that, and then I'm like, you know what? It's the shoestrings, and I did, and I went and I harvested the old shoelaces from the other shoes, put them on the new shoes, bang, mission accomplished, everything solved. I shouldn't be mad anymore, except this. Now, what happens when I buy a Brooks Adrenaline 23? I wonder which shoelaces they're going to come with. And here's the thing that's a bigger thing, and you're probably like, what the hell is this guy doing? So pissed about his shoelaces. I'm not that pissed. I'm just paying attention. Because, ladies, gentlemen, hermaphrodites, this is an episode of inflation that we don't always notice. Sure, we notice inflation. Prices getting higher. Oh, gas got higher because gas prices are the most visible prices on the planet. We get that. Milk. Oh, wow, a gallon of milk went up to $2.79 a gallon. And it used to be $1.99 a gallon. And we can all do the math and figure that that's like 40% inflation. And that's a lot. We get that. Then there's the other kind of inflation. shrinkflation. It was part of the State of the Union address. State of the Union address. Kind of ironic that I did that right there. This part of the address. Shrinkflation. Mayonnaise used to be in a jar that was 32 ounces. Because I'm a numbers guy, I noticed this. Now it's 30 ounces, but it's the same price. It's shrinkflation. Well, these shoelaces are an episode of shitflation. This is where they don't want to raise the price. Now, you can't make shoes smaller, right? You can't be like, we'll make them out of less material. Especially if you wear Hokas. They're like, we like more material so you feel like you're running on that thing with Matthew McConaughey, whatever his name is, Cooper Station. That guy. You're sludging through. They got to use more foam, right? So they're not going to use less materials, but they'll use shittier materials. So they'll be like, yeah, you know what? Those little shoestrings that are shaped like worms that really grip really nice and they feel nice in your hand. They tie perfectly. They feel snug. No, you're not getting them anymore. We're going to save 39 cents on a pair of shoes and we're going to give you these flat linguini things with grooves in them that keep coming untied. And some 55-year-old guy out there who under or over pronates is going to get pissed, but whatever, we got his money already because we're thinking short term. That's shitflation. I went to the grocery store. I go to Kroger. I guess I'm dropping all sorts of names, brand names. I go to Kroger, and it's like a war every time I go in there. And I don't trust Kroger. Do you know that Kroger is really just Regork spelled backwards? Have you ever thought about that? We're not supposed to notice this? And then they have these hamburger buns. Oh my God, they were great. They were perfect. They were like brioche buns. They were like $2.39 for 8 of them. And they were the best. They were dense. Like, when you don't want this freaking pillow potato shit to sandwich your hamburger. You want, like, if you watch Gordon Ramsay, he wants a brioche. I want a brioche bun. And then he always, don't make his risotto. Oh my God, he triggers with that's what his trigger is. But he also is like, you need a firm bun he's pretty jacked, actually, for a chef. And he wants brioche buns. And Kroger had these brioche buns and they were just perfect. And then they say, we changed our recipe. And they came back all pillowy, like the Hawaiian buns. They're basically Hawaiian buns. And I love Hawaii. I've been there once. It was great. And I don't mean to bash their style of buns, but they're not for me. They're too pillowy. They're too soft. And so that was shitflation because I guarantee you, why did we change our recipe? And you could tell it wasn't because they were better. You could tie your shoes with those things for crying out loud. That was a little bit of overreach for a callback, I got to admit. But that was, that's the thing is, that's shitflation. Substitute lesser parts, ingredients, and then we save money that way. And so these new shoestrings are shitflation. And so now I got to wait for 2 pairs of shoestrings to give way before I've got to decide if I'm going to go with my continued favorite brand that lets me bounce around and run 7-minute, 53-second miles at the turkey trot. Even better if I don't have to pull over. Maybe even better if I could get my poo schedule set. But, when they wear out, I don't know what I'm going to do. Guys, I don't know what I'm going to do. So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. Take a look around you and see where you see shitflation. And you can try the runner's knot, but you probably don't want your toes to turn black. And, respect the poo schedule. And if you still have your pelvic floor muscles intact, good on you. Because once they go, I don't think they're coming back. I don't think there's a rehabilitation program where, like, yeah, when I let one orifice go, the rest of them followed. So you keep them intact. You do that. Kegel your asses if you have to. Literally, Kegel everything. Do the Kegel. It's like a tightening. I just did one right there. And enjoy that. And this was only an early kind of episode thing, but someday I'll tell you about my taint and how I had to do Kegels, but it's not for today. So pay attention to everything shoestrings and pelvic floor and shrinkflation, and take care of yourselves. I will see you next time.
Have a question for Mike? Email him at mikecanistero@icloud.com.